Concept that you can't control what goes on outside of you. In other words, you can't control what an employee may say, or even to a certain extent what they may do. What you can control, though, is how you react to that. For instance, if someone makes, we had an instance where a manager would get upset with a mistake and start to raise their voice and fuss and maybe even yell a little bit or that kind of thing. And we discussed that as being inappropriate. Okay, so if I'm looking at how can you get improvement? Clearly, the idea is to understand fundamentally that that manager maybe can't control those errors, and that's true because it comes from another department that manager does not have control over. So, in a certain sense, that manager has no control of those errors coming into that department. So when they get upset and whatnot, it's an inappropriate response because it really doesn't. It's not something they have control over, and they can't. They're not going to affect any change that way. But they can control how they react, and that's the key. My wife gave me an interesting little key, and it says, actually on the key itself, it says Control Key. And I keep it at my desk, and I pick it up now and then, and I fool with it. And I look at it as a metaphor of sense that, in a sense that somehow I can stick this key in my ear or in the side of my head or something, and I can turn the switch and I can control it on and off. Control keys are basically on and off switches, is what they do. They allow someone with the key to control to turn it on or off. And I think it's very similar. You could use that. For instance, if you're having trouble controlling your response to a problem, and in other words, your reaction is inappropriate, you get angry, or visibly stressed. I think that's what is probably more common rather than showing anger. It will translate into stress. The Buddhists have probably the best concept, and it's called the gatekeeper. And so what they do is they basically set up this internal framework so that everything that comes in is filtered through this gatekeeper, and they can actually choose what sorts of things they allow in and what sorts of things they don't allow in. Now, the Buddhists go to the extreme because they're basically controlling everything. And what happens is, if you're a Buddhist monk, you're not affected. The bomb could go off or there could be a fire and you wouldn't be affected. And in my view, that's not where you want to go, because that means you won't be feeling insensitive. You'll just be sitting there with this Buddha grin on your face all day long as you sit under the tree meditating or saying your mantras. So we can't do that as managers because we want to be sensitive to people and we want to have feelings, right? But on the other hand, we can't be too emotional, too flighty, or too stressed, because that comes across as being, we relay that message to our people. In other words, people look to you. If you're a manager, you're the one they look to. And if they see you angry, they're gonna feel that. And if they see you stressed, they're gonna feel that too. And so I'm not saying control all of your emotions to the point where you don't feel, but look at trying to control them so that they don't become inappropriate responses. And certainly we don't want to become people that if you say anything to them, they fall apart. We've all seen people, they start crying or whatever, and these people are just, basket cases in a sense because they can't take anything. So you don't want to be like that either. So you need to find that sort of happy medium where you can let things, you want to have, take advantage of your emotions, your feelings, but you don't want to let them sort of go on automatic pilot and then get you in trouble with inappropriate responses.